Today on Go, we are playing field hockey at UBC with the Warriors! With the Rio Games just a month away, we thought you'd like to meet the next generation of Olympians, and we'll tell you why their coaches are from the Netherlands.
Or empower access to education.
Plus, meet the local man who's changing lives in Uganda and India. Hello and welcome to Go on ShawTV. I'm Bianca Seltrebeck, and today we are at Right Field at UBC for the Polar Bear Academy Field Hockey Camp. And that's 66 girls, 4 boys here for a 5-day camp, and they've got coaches coming in from Holland. Because, guess what? Holland is the top country in the world right now for field hockey. More on the camp later, but first up, a great story about some recent UBC grads who may have stumbled across the next big thing in apps.
A locally developed app has a new take on ride-sharing.
Spare is basically a commute sharing platform where we connect drivers, just ordinary drivers that are heading to work, with people that share a similar route. So if you're going to work every single day and you probably have just yourself in the car, no passengers, we give you the opportunity to share that ride and recover some of the costs of owning your vehicle.
The idea was born as Josh was commuting by bus during his days as a student at the University of British Columbia.
Well, I got passed up probably like many hundreds of times going to UBC and by the buses, and at the same time there were hundreds, if not thousands, of vehicles that were passing me, and they were going also to the same destination, going to UBC, and these vehicles had just a driver and no passengers.
Originally, they launched as a text message service in November of 2015, but had to shut down due to being overwhelmed with requests. The app was developed to meet that demand.
You set your schedule, say when you're going to from work, and then right away you're matchable with people that share similar routes. And we show you exactly who those people are, and we then give you the opportunity to request people into your trip. So if you're a driver, you can offer people rides. If you're a rider, you can request a driver. And then you request, the driver accepts you, and then you're thrown into this view that allows you to see when the driver's coming towards you. So it's similar to like a good taxi service, but it's actually just using people that are already on the road.
Only the Broadway corridor was covered when the app was launched, but in May it expanded to all of Metro Vancouver.
You don't even can't envision it when you're just sitting in your own room there writing some code on a computer, because that's just some software. But when you actually see the software making a difference in someone's day, brightening up their morning or making their commute better, it's really exciting and it's really pleasurable to see that.
Safety precautions have been taken to vet app users with the use of Facebook profiles, reviews, and phone tracking. And the UBC alumni founders think they've found something quite different from taxis or Uber.
They are ordinary people that are just heading to work that would be driving anyway. So we're not adding any cars to the road, and we're actually going to be reducing a lot of cars on the road. And that's the kind of main difference, and which also means that the payment that you make is going to be much, much smaller from that of an Uber.
Here, public transportation is pretty good, but when you can think of other countries like Mexico or countries in South America, some European cities, public transportation isn't as good, and traffic is just as big of a problem, and car ownership is also a problem. So we see it moving internationally in the future as well.
Growth for the app will also move towards pairing commuters up with people who have similar interests. In Vancouver, I'm Paul McClellan for Go on ShawTV.
All right, next up is my interview with Aaron Friedland. Now, he's the founder of the Walking School Bus Project, and that project recently won a big award. Who was at the award ceremony? Well, no big deal. Just the founder of the Grateful Dead and CNN journalist Anderson Cooper. All right, joining me now is Aaron Friedland. He is the CEO and founder of the Walking School Bus Project. He's joining me to tell us what it's all about.
All right, so the Walking School Bus is an organization that empowers access to education. And we have a more unique three-pronged approach in which we provide access to, or empower access to education. Once we help the students get to school, we empower access to nutrition, which we consider a prerequisite to education. So right now the students are in India and in Uganda, and then we're also working with students locally in Vancouver.
And now I think people are starting to get an idea of why you won the next Einstein Award. Tell us a bit about the award.
It's an award that takes good ideas that they believe can positively impact the world around us, that can impact many, like millions of people. And that's really what they want to see. I think they want to see something that is a good idea, that's already in use, that's already being implemented, but that can also be scaled up. What was cool about it was afterwards, we were all backstage, Anderson Cooper, Bob Weir and I. And Anderson Cooper says to me, "So Aaron, why did you start this organization?" And I said, well, simply put, I'm dyslexic and I wanted to help students in developing countries access education in a way that I realized when I was in Uganda and when I was visiting that these students would not be able to. And he said, no way, I'm also dyslexic. And Bob Weir chimes in, no way, I'm also dyslexic. And the three of us realized in like the first 30 seconds that we're all just hanging out backstage, all dyslexic, and it was a great icebreaker.
Okay, really quickly, there's another part I wanted to mention, and that is the reading out loud element of this. Tell me a bit about that.
You as a user, let's say North America, are given a reading. So you and I are in grade 11, and our coursework is 1984. So we read 1984, and it's broken down into a variety of chapters. I get chapter 1, you get chapter 2. So I read chapter 1 out loud, and I'm reading and I'm using our app to record it out loud. And then what happens is, as a class, we have now compiled this audiobook. And this audio recording is shared with our partnered schools in Uganda and elsewhere with the attached PDF. And they have the opportunity to read and listen simultaneously. And then they create their own audiobooks and share them back to us. And that little act of just them sharing it back with us also completely changes this idea of that donor-recipient, first world, third world idea that we often see, and puts everyone on an equal playing field.
Wow, incredible. Aaron Friedland, remember his name, he is changing the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Just picking up some field hockey skills from Mia and Jocelyn. We have to take a quick break, but
we'll be right back.
Teach some new techniques, so we challenge them on a different level.
Coming up after the break, find out why the Polar Bear field hockey players are going Dutch. Welcome to Go on ShawTV. Today I am at right field at UBC. Got some field hockey players behind me. You know, the Rio Games are only a month away. Our men's field hockey team will be there. But behind me is sort of the next generation of field hockey playing Olympians. They've got a camp going on and they've got some pretty amazing coaches. Virgie is joining me now. He is the head coach of the Polar Bears Academy for Field Hockey. Where did that name come from? I gotta ask.
Well, we thought it resonates well with Canadians, right? And we thought that it was something that was a little bit unique.
You've brought in some pretty special coaches.
Oh yeah, a lot of these girls train with us through the year, and we wanted to do something really special for them now that school's out. And so we picked a 5-day period so they can get intense field hockey, and we brought the best coaches from Holland to work with them.
Everyone stays within the box over here. We're trying to give them a grasp of what we do back in Europe, teach them new techniques, so we challenge them on a different level.
Okay, over here this side, 2 against 3. Good job, good job.
Everyone's very enthusiastic. Of course, there's a difference in level between the girls because we have young kids and older kids, but talent-wise, they're doing quite okay.
And now tell me how this works. So you have come with a couple of coaches from Holland because you are ranked number 1 and 2 in the world. And is this something that you do beyond Canada?
This is something we do beyond Canada. For us, it's a great way to see a bit of the world during our off-season.
All right, it is time for me to meet some of the Polar Bears. Joining me now, Stella, Morgan, Caitlin. Hello, ladies. I've got to ask, first question, why field hockey out of all the sports?
It's fun.
Very fun. Okay, Stella, why do you play field hockey?
Well, it's kind of like a family tradition.
Mom, dad play it?
Just my mom and my sister and me.
I find it really fun, and I love playing with like a big team, and we're all really good friends, and it just becomes like a family, so it's really fun.
And you've got some pretty pretty special coaches here all the way from the Netherlands. How's it going with them?
They're amazing players and they're really good at coaching us and helping us like improve all of our basic skills.
They like the different approach. A lot of touches on the ball. There isn't that much standing around. You know, they continuously involved in action.
Stella, can you do a little demo here? What's your move?
Well, what I like doing, just for fun, is
Oh my gosh, so good. Very impressive. Have you coached any girls, ladies to Olympic stardom?
Well, I've coached girls who are now on the national team. On the men's team, I coached UBC for 13 years, and we've got about, out of the 16 guys, about 7 of them are from UBC squad that I coached.
Wow, impressive. And are you excited for them to be heading to the Olympics?
Oh, very much so. I've been to 2 Olympics for Canada. My last one was Sydney Olympics as a national head coach, and so I know it's a special thrill to be there, and I wish them the best of luck.
I want you to teach me one thing. I want to know how this cheer of yours goes.
Okay, so basically we just put our hands in and we get in a little circle. Okay. And then when I say like polar bears on 2, then we all go polar bears after 2. Okay, ready? Polar bears on 2. 1, 2, polar bears!
All right, well, up next, we have found the holy grail of geekdom. And that's a compliment, by the way. It is in Richmond, and they recently celebrated a big milestone.
I think we're probably the largest, what we call gaming hobby store in maybe Western Canada. I'm not sure about all of Canada, but we're close to being one of the biggest. We're about 5,200 square feet now of games and hobbies and models and so on.
Imperial Hobbies in Richmond has been a part of the community for 3 decades. Back in the 80s, Francis was working for an engineering firm, but job instability and a recession pushed him to consider his career options.
I sat down with my wife and says, I think I've got to start up my own business and make my own decisions and decide when it's time for me to leave if I have to. So at that point, being that I was very good with model products and games and so on, we decided what the heck, let's give it a shot. We started in 1986, the year of Expo. A lot of people were a little iffy whether or not that was actually going to succeed because, of course, they didn't think anybody would go to a hobby store when you had Expo going on.
But people did come in and have been through 2 location moves. Operations manager Chris started coming in here as a kid.
I grew up here. I mean, I remember going back to the old place and seeing the original little comic section and such, and, you know, reading the comic books.
From those early days, not only was a business success the goal, building a community and a space for people to get together was crucial. Almost every night after closing, something is happening here, from role-playing to model painting classes.
It's more than just a business, it's more like a community of people. Everybody gets together. Like, I come on the Wednesday night gaming nights, and it's always nice to see new people, you know, get to know them, and it's always nice to play new board games with everyone, and, you know, it's kind of neat. It's kind of cool.
When we moved to this new location, we had help of actually customers. They all came out of the woodwork and were like, can I help you pack stuff? Can I help you move things and everything? And we moved this place in the span of like 4 days. And so many people came out, and it's, you know, brought actually a tear to my eye because it was amazing just how many people care about this place.
They moved into the current home of Imperial Hobbies less than a year ago, and Francis is still as keen on the job today as he was in '86.
You're always opening up boxes of new products and things like that. And of course, the great thing is it's like Christmas almost every day because, of course, there's new product every day.
The big 30-year anniversary party for the shop will be on site August 19th through 21st. In Richmond, I'm Paul McClellan for Go on ShawTV.
Okay, Bianca, I think we need to take a break. I'm that bad? Yeah. Thanks, Natalie. Later in the show, we'll tell you how these brave teams raised a staggering $200,000 in the rain.
There's a bunch of infant bottles over here.
Infant bottles, styrofoam bits, and cigarette butts. Just a few of the typical items constantly found by Vancouver Aquarium staff at this Stanley Park beach.
Cigarette butt. One of the most common things we find is cigarette butts. I mean, last time we came down, we had probably over 200 cigarette butts that we picked up.
A frustrating sight for Teddy Geach and her team, since littering doesn't seem to stop despite all their efforts.
We came down here about 2 days ago with our Oceanwise team to pick up some garbage, and there was so much that we couldn't clean it all up, and now we come back 2 days later and there's even more trash.
And as much as it's disappointing to see, it's a motivation for Teddy and her team to take part in the Great Canadian Shoreline Cleanup, which was started by the Vancouver Aquarium 22 years ago.
There's a lot of trash that's ending up in our oceans, a lot of plastics that can cause a lot of impacts on the marine environment and marine species. So it's something that we can physically do to help remove plastics from our oceans. I think it's foam, yeah.
Vancouver Aquarium is involved with our program partners WWF because we see the major threat that litter poses to wildlife, and we want to do everything we can to protect the wildlife in our waterways and in our oceans.
With over 2,000 shoreline cleanups planned across Canada, the program has grown to include more than 60,000 participants.
Every year we're really excited to see more and more people coming on board and joining us. So from that point of view, we're getting more and more participants every single year, so support for our program is growing. Unfortunately, the pattern is the same though.
A pattern usually including the same items. In 2015 alone, volunteers in Canada have collected over 175,000 kilograms of trash.
Our volunteers picked up more than 400,000 cigarette butts across Canada, and tens of thousands of food wrappers, straws, plastic bottle lids, plastic bags.
And even if it might seem that people aren't getting the message, for Teddy, who grew up on the West Coast, it's a cause that's worth fighting for.
I think the fact that we're actually coming out here and picking up the trash is making a difference. We picked up a full garbage bag full in the past 45 minutes, which is great.
Making a difference, one trash bag at a time. In Vancouver, I'm Jenny Josie Forgo on ShawTV.
Oh, I actually don't want to touch your head.
Well, close to 24 teams braved the pouring rain to compete in this year's Easter Seals Camp Challenge. Now, that event is held to help kids with disabilities attend summer camp. So our Shaw crew, well, we had to catch up with one of the event's most passionate teams. Check it out.
Their goal may be simple.
1, 2, 3, sing high!
But don't underestimate this North Delta team.
We've been talking as a team about a little bit of strategy. It's top secret.
I'm really competitive, so I'll just do anything.
The Schofield family and friends has been taking part in the Easter Seals Camp Challenge, formerly known as a 24-hour relay, for over 15 years.
It's very much a family tradition. Every year we all come out together to support Easter Seals.
It is up to your team to create one of the most fantastic outfits.
This year, 20 teams raised over $200,000 to send Paul and other BC disabled kids to Easter Seals Camp. Their reward? Taking part in a fun sports day here on the campgrounds.
It's just so much fun, and for me it's just so nice to see all the kids come together and they come and see the friends that they've made over the years.
They push you to your limits with some of the challenges they do. I remember last year there were some that were really challenging.
Good job, Paul!
And if there's anyone who knows a thing or two about facing challenges, it's Paul.
Paul was born with cerebral palsy. The left side of his body was affected with nerve damage, and it affects his arm more than his leg.
The 24-year-old first started coming to Easter Seals Camp Squamish at the age of 5.
I remember we had pancakes for breakfast one time and we started a pancake fight. So that's the first memory.
It's these simple, sweet memories that keep Paul and Easter Seals' 900 other campers returning year after year. Here, there's no doctor's appointments to worry about, no rehab checkups. For 1 week, participants' sole focus is making new friends, and most of all, having fun.
I love playing hockey, so I always bring my goalie equipment up.
We really, as parents, needed a break, and so we were more than happy to send him to a camp that we knew were going to look after him so well. He can be with other peers who have similar disabilities, other disabilities, but at the same time it's the abilities they look at, not the disability.
Yeah! Teams for this year's Camp Challenge came from all across Lower Mainland. For Paul, seeing people give up their weekend to continue sending kids to camp, his sister Emma also actively involved in the Easter Seals Woman to Warrior fundraiser.
A huge part is my brother, and he means so much to me.
Means more to this camper than they'll ever know.
Everyone that comes up for this fundraiser actually cares and knows what we're going through in life. So I find that's a really good thing.
There's such an important need for this camp. This has been a real lifesaver godsend for us.
In Squamish, I'm Vanessa Ibarra for Go on ShawTV.
Well, that is our show for today. I had a blast hanging out with all the kids at the Polar Bear Academy Field Hockey Camp here at UBC. Now, since we're at UBC, I wanted to mention that 29 former and current UBC students are on Team Canada's roster and heading to the Olympic Games in Rio next month. So big congratulations to them. Well, it's our show. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bianca Selterbeck, and we'll see you next time.